What's up, boys? This video is a bit all over the place, so please allow me to explain what's going on. I show a truck that I just bought. I have concerns with the suspension setup. Let me back up. Suspension setup. This video was inspired by somebody. Boom Slang Suspension on YouTube. This is one of the most knowledgeable channels I've found for suspension stuff. He has very in-depth videos, very good videos. I've been recommended this guy by a bunch of people. I recommend him to you. I show a truck that I just bought. I have concerns with the suspension. We go and test the truck. I'm then going to film me running through a bunch of different shock options, like spring on, spring off, rubber band on and off, to see how it affects the truck. And the goal is to get the truck a lot more capable than it is without spending any money, just by adjusting stuff. I think that's it. Yep, enjoy.
What's up, boys?
Look who decided to show up.
Look, the cat dragged in.
This is going to be a disaster. Leave it. I'm a link bending machine.
You're doing it too. Your back window just fell.
Fluffernutter in them.
Do it justice.
What's up, boys? What's up, boys? I bought a truck that lived through a fire and still moves to tell about it. I planned on unboxing this on film, but the box smelt so bad I had to open it and just get stuff out of it. This truck, it still smells so much like smoke. You can see like the links in the drive shaft from the fire. All the black and weird discoloredness going on. So cool. I love that it has a story behind it. This truck was purchased from this guy. This guy had a fire a few weeks ago, lost a ton of stuff, posted this one up for sale as one of the survivors, and this was a perfect way for me to justify another purchase, because in my head it's like, well, I'm helping the guy out since he just lost everything. Sure, I can buy it. And here we are. This is a Profit Felix chassis. Felix the Phoenix. Because it arose from the ashes. Okay. I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Profit Felix chassis. At first glance, I hated the way this thing looked. I thought it was ugly, just like the chassis part. But the more I look at it, Pardon me. The more I look at this, for some reason, I don't know, it's grown on me so much. I really like this. So, we're going to quickly go test this. Profit Designs already hooked me up with some orange pieces because I have a plan. My wheels that Coop made for me that match my jacket. I'm going to swap out all the orange panels. So, quick look at it. These are Angry Squirrel beadlock rings on the inside, and then he has a normal ring stacked on the outside. I believe they're all brass wheels, which we're going to be changing that, so whatever. Proline Trappador tires, these do well on my rocks, I'm a fan. Hard Park shocks that are upside down with rubber bands on the front, upside down on the rear with the middle rubber band. Like I said, I don't think I'm too stoked on the shock situation, but might work good. We'll see. Has double bend links in the rear. I think the links, I'm pretty sure he said the links were made by 828 RC, our boy, Tyler Chapman. Real tiny upper links in the front. Brass drive shaft in the front, not too stoked on that. Generally, I've just been liking the plastic drive shafts. They seem to work fine. But I'm going to leave this one just because of the fire damage. I think that's so cool. And of course we're going to leave the links because the fire damage looks cool. And also plenty of clearance. They look good. Micro Komodo Vuratech motor. Got blackened a little bit from the smoke. That's cool. Yeah, Vuratech ESCs wedged in here against the door. Stock style axles, front and the rear. Rear is just metal, nothing crazy going on. The front has brass diff cover and the big brass knuckles. These are the deluxe fab ones. Oh, it also has a bunch of overdrive, underdrive. I forgot to mention that. There's also little side panels here that pop on. That doesn't matter. Cool. Let me throw a receiver in this and we'll go test it quick. I'm not planning on getting a ton of clips. I just want to test it out, see what it's like. I think that's all for this one. I just kind of wanted to get a baseline of what to expect out of it and kind of see like what made this better. It can't even get up to Drunken Frog right now. First test. It was successful in not being that great. This leaves us plenty of room to tinker with the setup and find out what makes this better. Before we even go any further, I'm just going to put all the orange stuff on it, see what it looks like. Side panels, they're not glued in or anything. I still need to mess with the electronics and the layout. But I got my wheels and tires on. Let me get you guys a quick link for these tires. These tires were recommended by Texoma. They're only $12 on Amazon. And right here's the name of them. This looks cool. I love these wheels. And then combined with the orange. So once again, still the same suspension setup. Front and rear, same. All I changed was the wheels and tires, the colors, and then just this front mount instead of having the battery velcroed on the servo. So ideally, I want it to act the same way it did. I want it to flip over again. That way we can start trying different suspension setups. I'm hoping the tires didn't change anything. Yeah, it's gonna flip over. Okay, good. This is what I wanted. I also want to try this spot just to make sure we still can't get it. Okay, good. This is pretty much exactly what I wanted. So we know the truck can't make all the common lines. We got the lower and upper Drunken Frog, and then a little thing over here. So with leaving the majority of the setup the same, we're just going to run through a bunch of different shock setups, like putting springs on them, taking rubber bands off, and just kind of seeing how the truck reacts to it. Variation number one. I put springs on the rear, still have the rubber band. And then the front, no springs, and still rubber band on each side. Also, just ignore the, the wiring situation. Huh. Looks like I'm not getting grip, but it stopped it from flipping backwards. Okay, well, next up, we're going to leave the rear the same, springs with rubber band. In the front, we're going to stay springless, but we're going to remove the rubber bands. I was going to put springs on. Right there's one of them. And the other one I just dropped down into this void. So that's going forever. And we're just going to see what this can do. Like this. So, no springs on the front, no rubber bands on the front, rubber band on the rear, and springs on the rear. Okay, next setup. The front, still completely springless and no rubber bands. The rear, springs, and I unhooked the rubber band. So the rear is springs with no band. See if that changes anything. Ooh, there we go. That's our first time making it up, or at least making it this far. Okay, alright, let's test out this little ledge here. Same setup we just ran, springs in the rear with no rubber band, and nothing in the front. I can definitely tell it's, oh yeah, nice. It wasn't wanting to flip backwards at all. Next variation, we have the same rear end, no rubber band, but with springs on, and then the front, put the rubber bands back on. Okay, that one worked. Again, trying the ledge, same setup. No rubber band with springs. Both sides of the front have a rubber band on the shock and no springs. Nice. Let's see if we can get this steep little side climb with the same setup. Nice, that's usually a tough spot. That was good. Let's try that same thing, but I unhooked the front rubber bands. See how the truck reacts to this. Okay. That was also good. Alright, we're good. I went home and came back. Current setup. Springs on the rear. No rubber band. It's just hanging there. Springs on the front. No rubber bands. Uh-oh. See how this does. It seemed like that was wanting to flip over too easy. So now we got same rear, we have springs with no rubber band, and then we have springs with a rubber band on the front. Springs, front and rear, rubber bands on the front. We'll give it a quick downhill test. We're running springs front and rear with rubber bands on the front. This probably isn't ideal for downhill, so I'm curious how it's going to handle it. Okay. This has been a pretty good little downhill test. We'll see how it does here. I'm running springs front and rear and bands on the front. I know, battery's hitting the tire, it's fine. Okay, that was actually better than I expected. I think we're at the final iteration of this thing for this video. I went home, tinkered with it a bit more. I planned on only messing with the shocks for this video, but I just couldn't help myself. I added more length and more width to it. It just seemed like it was too narrow and too short for my liking. So the rear links normally are mounted here and here. I just moved them back right here on each side with like the skid bolt, so it added that much more length. Also designed and printed this myself, proud of that one. The upper rear links, I put it up as high as it would go. I don't really know why, I guess stability, I have no idea. And I added little hex widener things, which definitely isn't ideal. It's not what I would prefer, but I just did it as like a quick fix to see how I like the width. And if I do like the width, then I'll probably end up changing the axles to just some wider ones. So the rest of this video, I'm just going to get some clips of it as is in this situation, and then yeah. Much better than it was. Nice. I didn't film the upper frog at all today because of the snow, but it finally melted some, enough to at least get halfway up it. Also, the way I ended up with the shocks, springs on the rear with no band and nothing up front, just completely loose. I don't think I'm too stoked on these hard park shocks. They don't, well, I'll talk about that later. Oh, dude, so close. Whoa, that was cool. Let me get a different angle. Oh, that's so cool. was just curious if I could go down it. Not bad. Sorry, whole thing was blurry. Oh dude, my diff slider just worked. Well, kinda. You get the idea. Oh my gosh. No way this keeps going. Oh, it's gonna fall. Dang it. My front tire left off of the edge. Okay, a lot going on here. 1,000 times better than it initially was, but it's still not quite the line slayer that I would like it to be. There's a handful of things I don't like about it. Steering angle is not good. My whole servo battery situation is not good, but I feel like I just didn't have a choice. First of all, the servo is supposed to lay flat between here, but I can't because it hits the chassis rail. Like, see how close that is? So the servo didn't fit. I had to drill holes and just put it upright, which I'm okay with that. The battery, not super stoked of it just being velcroed to the axle. I would rather it be in here, but I can't flip the motor around. Ideally, I'd flip the motor around and put the battery here. I can't flip the motor around because the skid plate only allows it to be mounted one way. Like, there's a cutout for the transmission gears, and it has to be facing like this. So that's why the whole front situation is what it is. I think a bigger tire would help me. The shocks, I don't know if I like these shocks or not. They, like, look, that's stuck. You can hear it in my voice. They get stuck. They don't move nicely. But the truck wasn't awful. It's at least at a point where it's enjoyable to drive. It does well on lines. I just want to keep going and get more out of it. This was a fun video. I have a couple more trucks to do the same thing with. This is a used one that I bought. Yeah, I don't think it's built well. So we'll test it as is and then change some stuff on it and see what happens. Hope you guys enjoyed. I very much encourage anyone, if you have a rock, actually you could even just do this on your couch at your house. If you're wanting to mess with your suspension setups, just find like a line on your couch where the truck wants to flip over, or it's close to being able to do it, or like a side hill on the couch, or just anywhere on a rock, and then just start changing your shocks around and kind of see how it affects things. Definitely not done with this. I really want to Definitely not done with this. I really want to just go wild with this one and learn to make it as capable as possible. Feel free to leave any suggestions. You guys know that I have no idea what I'm doing, but this is how I learn. I just try different stuff, and I thought it'd be fun to bring you guys along for the journey. Yep. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed.